So listen, a fantastic welcome to all of you. There's a huge crowd for our colleagues that are dialing in from the offices. There's a huge crowd here in our canteen or restaurant or whatever we call it. Everyone's eating sandwiches and donuts, and I'm a bit jealous, although I'm not very hungry standing up here just at this point. But so you're very, very welcome to our celebration of International Women's Day. Okay, I'll move over from that. So I'd particularly like to welcome our guests. So we have Enya, Linda and Dana from the Irish Women's team. And I'd also like to specifically acknowledge and thank all of our Aon colleagues who have got all of this together, because it just doesn't happen without everybody in Aon. I'm going to quote a little bit from the International Women's Day website. So I tried to learn it off by heart last night, so I'm going to have to read it. I failed miserably. But the International Women's Day website says, "Imagine a world free of bias, stereotypes and discrimination. A world that's diverse, equitable and inclusive. A world where difference is valued and celebrated." Well, International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. So another quote that I picked up from a website, Mary Robinson, the 7th President of Ireland, said that she was elected by the women of Ireland, I'd add some men too, who instead of rocking the cradle, rocked the system. So I think in the case of Aon, we may not be rocking the system. There's absolutely no doubt that we have a gender pay gap and we're going to fix it, that's for sure. But we are always seeking ways to raise awareness about discrimination and take actions to drive gender parity and create an equal and diverse team of colleagues. Male, female, religion, it doesn't really matter. It's just a diverse team of colleagues, and that's really important to all of us. So with further ado, I'll pass you over to Trina, who just is going to say a few words on that very subject, and she's going to pass it back to me for some Q&A with Linda and Enya and Dana. So thank you.
Thank you. So I'll add a welcome from me to everyone in the room and everybody around our offices in Ireland and everybody dialed in on the WebEx. So I'm going to start with some thank yous. And firstly, I have to acknowledge the work of the Ireland Inclusion Council in everything they do to advance our diversity agenda and in bringing us here together today. So in particular, the gender subgroup, I'm going to say thank you to Laura Vickers, to Deirdre O'Shea, to Caroline Rowan and to David O'Brien. And I also need to thank Emma Dignam for her expert chairpersonship. Trying to find that location at the moment. I also have to give a shout out to Anna Callahan and the marketing team. They've all been extremely busy in organising today's events. And finally, to all the colleagues who contributed to the video that was shared this week to mark International Women's Day. Is the order okay, Anna? Okay. At Aon, it's important to say that all colleagues are encouraged to participate in International Women's Day. As with any diversity event, it's not about excluding any groups. It belongs to everyone, and it's up to everybody to participate and find out how we can play a part in creating a fully inclusive culture at Aon. By joining the event today, you're already doing that. And if you're looking for other ways, you can check out the Aon Avenue page, the International Women's page there today. In particular, the allyship guide is really informative and well worth a read. This year's International Women's Day theme is Embrace Equity. And while equality means that each person or group of people are given the same resources or opportunities, equity is recognising that each person has different circumstances. They have different starting points, and it allocates the resources and opportunities needed to achieve an equal outcome. And here at Aon, as Peter referenced, we've made many positive changes over the years to help level that playing field, but it's important to acknowledge that today that the representation of women at the most senior levels across Aon is below where we would like it to be. Of course, we know that current position was not arrived at by intentional design, but we do need to intentionally and strategically design to improve that balance over time. On the town hall last week, we shared a couple of actions that we've taken, and we've agreed with the Ireland leadership team that we will now have 15 specific actions to address that over time. So two of the examples we shared on the town hall were the Aon Accelerate Leadership Programme, and I see many of the participants here today, and also the policy enhancements we've made. And to share just a few more today, other examples include having diverse interview panels, Every one of our job adverts is now run through a decoder for inclusive language, and we will only advertise it if it reaches a high score on that. And then we've also partnered recently with Technology Ireland in running a women returner programme in ACIA. So I'll stop there because I know we want to get to the panel discussion. So a final point from me, I just hope you find today thought-provoking, interesting and enjoyable. And on behalf of the leadership team and the Inclusion Council, encourage you all to participate to help with all areas of diversity to bring a fully inclusive culture to Aon. Thank you. Over to Peter.
So just before the three players join us, I just had a look at the World Rugby website there the other day. And in 2009, just talking about values, because I look at their values and I look at our values in Aon, but in 2009, World Rugby member unions identified integrity, passion, solidarity, discipline and respect as the defining character-building characteristics of rugby. So when I look at Ireland, Aon Ireland, you know, our values similarly include integrity, responsibility, resilience and respect. And I have to say personally for me, the game of rugby certainly represents at least the last two, which is respect and resilience, and it definitely exemplifies the game of rugby. If you look at other games, I would suggest that maybe from a respect perspective, they're struggling. Certainly the two biggest games that we see here in Ireland. But certainly from a game perspective, rugby, resilience and respect are the two values that they hold dear to my heart and certainly dear to Irish and World Rugby. So on that note, I see them down the bottom here. I'd like to welcome up Enya, Linda and Dana. How are you doing? You average?
First, please let me come. Thank you, yourself.
Now, so we have a number of questions, and they're not my questions, they're colleague questions, in fairness to the colleagues who've pulled them all together. And what we're going to do is maybe ask, there's about probably, give or take, about 16 questions. So I'm going to ask the odd number of questions, and then Mairead, who's behind me on the screen, will ask the even number of questions. We're not going to take questions from the floor because I'd say we're probably going to run out of time. We only have about another 30 minutes, give or take. So thank you for our colleagues who did submit the questions. And what I might ask each player to do, first of all, is introduce herself, a little bit about your background, where you're from, you've two jobs, which is obviously, a day job and a day job, and maybe just some interesting facts about yourself. So,
my name's Dana O'Brien. I'm from Carlow, and I've just been part of the centralised programme for the last 5 or 6 months, so I'm pretty new to the programme. Apart from rugby, I am studying accounting and finance at DCU. That's basically it. Yeah. My name is Linda Jugar. I was 26. I've been playing for international rugby for 4 years. And I'm a nurse, qualified in nursing Trinity College. And I played a year in France, and then just back started the Central-lapse program in January. Yeah, my name is Enya Breen. I'm 23 and I'm from Cork. I've been part of the centralised program for 6 months, so at the moment I'm a full-time rugby player and I'm a qualified physio as well. But I suppose I kind of been focusing fully on rugby at the moment for the last since Christmas. And I'm delighted to be here.
Great. I was actually doing a bit of Googling again on caps, and it's a very inexperienced Irish team in terms of the number of caps you had. So I calculated 223 across the full squad. I could be wrong on that. It might be 224 or 225. But compared to some other teams, you're quite a young team. Actually, inexperienced is probably the wrong word, but certainly a young team compared to some of the other teams that you're going to be facing in Six Nations. Any particular concerns or any views on that, or what do you think will make you better?
We are better. I think we're quite a young team, but I don't think that really stop us from performing. You know, we're growing as a team, and we're helping the youth coming through, like Dana coming through, and she's a spirit. She's wonderful. Like you really do. Thank you. And so we're England, and you see England, like up to England, we are the number 2 in the world right now, and we face them at home. The Six Nations. We have also France, which are a good team. So I think the more we play with them, the more we get ourselves out there. And there's no team that we can't really tackle. Just we do our best, and then we learn from it. Yeah.
We'll go into the questions. So so I'll do 2. Mairead will do 2. Okay. So you know the first question, but I'll read it out for everyone else that's out there. So it must be really challenging juggling your training, your competitive matches, and working in a day job. So on an average day, what does it look like for you? I want each of you, if you could answer this, what does it look like for you, and how do you prepare yourselves both physically and mentally?
Now we're coming into Six Nations camp, so it's going to get a lot busier, but previously we trained usually 4 days a week, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. For me in college, I'd have to miss a lot of lectures, but so in the mornings then I'd go in to training, and in the evenings come home and try and catch up on college stuff. So it's tough to balance, but just have to keep the head down.
I think I just train at the moment. There's just full time, so I think we train now that Six Nations is coming. Like Dana said, it's going to be so much more busier. We're not just going to train 4 times now. It's going to be 6 days training. So I don't think you can really do anything on top of that. So, and also you need your recovery and everything. So for me, I'm a full time. It's my job now, so I try to focus on that and try to prepare myself to play against the best, really.
Yeah, I suppose I was kind of balancing a part-time job on top of training before Christmas, but it was just too busy. So luckily my work were understanding enough, and they kind of gave me the space I needed and time. But now I'm just training full-time, and I have the opportunity to kind of, when we're not training, to recover and focus on actually just looking after myself and things like that. So it's nice to have a bit of free time. And I'm very glad to be a full-time rugby player. Honestly, it's a dream job. So we keep it.
My son as Dana, and he tells me about all the training he does as well. That's why he doesn't make it into college. I'm not sure that's the case. He's honestly pulling the wool over my eyes. But anyway, well, it's good to hear that you're doing. So I'll tell him that you're doing the same. Yeah. This is anyway. I think this is a great question, and this is in relation to a referee, Holly Davison. So she's really brought female refereeing to the forefront in recent years, and she's definitely officiated in high-profile games, that's for sure. Do you see that trend continuing? And specifically in Ireland, will it lead to more AIL and Six Nations games officiated by female referees?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Holly's gone through the ranks in the last few years, and you have the likes of Joy Neville as well from Ireland, and Sarah Cox over in England, who are kind of blazing that trail for female rugby players and female, like, women in rugby, not just in playing roles. So it's really exciting, and I think it is something that'll continue. And obviously, we'd love to see more women referees and more women representation in the AIL in the men's game. So hopefully it's something we'll continue to see.
Do you think there's any different than reffing male or female matches? Is there any distinct differences, do you think?
Not that no.
I think it goes back to that respect, doesn't it? I mean, I think, male female players, it's irrelevant. But I think the game of rugby, definitely that respect is there, and the referee, when they blow the whistle, you give out to them, you know what's going to happen to you, versus maybe some other sports where you just see them giving a lot of lip to referees all the time and seem to get away with it.
So if they blow the whistle, you kind of have to listen. But then they say it very quickly, and I think that's the beauty of rugby compared to other sports. It's just that kind of respect for the referee, and also respect for your teammate and the opposition.
And the opposition. Yeah. Brilliant. All right, we have 2 questions from Mairead now. Hope we can hear her.
Hi, Anya, Dana and Linda, can you hear me? Hi, thanks so much for coming in, and apologies I can't be with you in person. Myself and a number of our Cork crew are dialed in here this morning, so thanks for joining us. So the first question I have is physical health and mental health. We know they're essential to everyone's well-being, and just interested in your thoughts on whether there's anything specific you do on a daily or weekly basis to keep them in check outside of the team training that you do.
I think just something outside of rugby, because we're so involved in that bubble, just training and doing your video analysis, and you're constantly in that rugby circle. Sometimes it's so good to just kind of step away from it and do something completely different, or see your friends that are not into like sports, and kind of switch off. I think it's so important just to mind your mental health, and obviously physical health. You do all the time. Yeah, so it's good to do stuff outside of rugby. So you just even see the word in just a completely different way, and I think that's healthy for that mental side of things. For me especially, it's really, I just like to sometimes hang around with my friends that don't know anything about sport or anything about rugby. So I just can be myself, and not be George, oh, you didn't do that. That scope didn't go well. You know, so it's really, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like physically recovering. You have to give your mental health time to recover as well. Like, say like coming home, if you specifically allocate time like for throwing on Netflix or a podcast, or just making sure that you take half an hour to mentally recover. That's basically it. Obviously sleep as well is massively important, but yeah, just making sure to take time away from all the busy stuff that's going on.
There's probably lessons in that for all of us as well, I guess, in terms of just making sure that you ring fence time that is not totally associated with what you're doing all day. The other question that I had was around your first memory of rugby.
I see everybody listening at me. Okay. For me, I think I started playing when I was about 7 or 8, down with the boys in Cork. And there's one day that really sticks out to me. It was pouring rain, it was covered in mud, and we were just finished training, and the pitch was kind of waterlogged. So we're doing mudslides everywhere. Everyone was just lining up, flying down the pitch, and then my dad just looked down and he was like, what is going on? He had bin bags lining the car. He was like, this is a state. But it was just so much fun, and I think that's probably something I've kind of tried to stay with the last few years. Obviously when rugby's getting more serious and things, I still just try to make time to enjoy it, and I'm not being given out to by my dad anymore for destroying the car, but there's still things that I can still enjoy, things, part of it every day.
How about you, David?
Yeah, my earliest memories probably, I'm like anyone, I started when I was 7 or 8 as well. I played with the lads. I think my first time ever playing rugby, I was actually at one of my brother's blitzes, and I think they were short numbers, so one of the coaches said, why don't you give it a try? And he gave me a jersey, and that was that. Taylor, I never really gave up. So our family's very much into rugby, so it was always on the telly growing up, and my parents would take me to Leinster games and stuff, so it was a huge part of my childhood.
But my first one is probably my first club, Wanderers, in Merriam Road there. I didn't really know anything about rugby. I've never watched it. I had to Google what is rugby.
What's wrong with the ball? Holy shit.
I found it off stuff that I how the hell. So they had to run backwards. Was that how they ever before? I said, can you put your back? So I took the ball and I ran the entire pitch, and my teammate was screaming at me put the ball down, and then I just slammed in the pit. I said, no, grab the ball. And yeah, and then it was just fun. It was just that memory just stuck with me. That was fun. I didn't know anything about rugby, so the ref told me to follow him around. So everywhere the ref went, I went with him. So and then that was my first time playing. Yeah, rugby, first memory, and I still remember it. I still laugh at it too. So
Remember every game you played, like that's, it's hard to forget them. The good ones and the bad ones are not so good ones, but it's it's brilliant. Well, listen, I have 2 more questions. How do you prepare yourself before going into battle on the pitch? And it is a battle, isn't it? Here, what do you come in?
yeah, like preparation for games like Six Nations. I think we just don't get prepared on the day. I think it's like a week ahead of that. A week ahead, like you start your preparation, like carb loading and everything. But for me, before anything, I just had to just switch off. I just have that nap or just be by myself for a few, and then just gather myself and just switch on. Then from there on, I think everyone is different, but everyone have their headphones in, like going to Captain Run, going on the bus to the stadium. It's like anything that really helps you. I think we all know what people do individually. So everyone is so different. You have your headphone on and going to change your room, everyone is just switched on. But before that, I have to have my nap. And then have a nap, have a bath and things, just kind of just relax. And then because you are going to a battle, it is a battle. So what about yourself?
For me, I suppose I kind of take a few minutes, probably an hour or 2 before the game. I just take a few minutes. I suppose it would be meditation, but just take a quiet time. Few minutes to myself, relax, take my mind away from everything. And then from there, I can kind of focus in on what has to be done. And I suppose as serious as things can get and as intense as it can get, I still kind of try and enjoy it as well. Once there's music in the change room, everyone's people are getting in the zone and people are kind of having a bit of a dance and things. Everyone's different. But for me, I find I play my best once I'm relaxed and actually enjoying it. Like it's not every day you get to go out and play with your best friends. So, once I kind of take a few minutes for myself, I'm kind of sorted then. It can be pretty intense, so just have to relax.
I'm kind of the same as he, like just taking time to relax. I suppose before my first Ireland game, before I got my first cap in Japan, before we left the hotel, I just went outside and called my parents, and like we work on structure and how to play the game so much, but just before the game, like it's important to remind yourself why you're actually doing it, and because you enjoy it so much, and that's the main thing.
Did you have to, when you got your first cap, did you have to sing a song? Yeah. What song did hold on. What song did you sing? You don't have to sing it here, but
Song Can't Take My Eyes Off You.
yeah, Vincent, fair enough. Actually, and just you talked about the headphones. This is not on the questions, but it's a question for me. What do you listen to when you're on the bus? What you starting with you? Well, yeah.
Everything. Could be rap, could be some acoustic guitar, or could be some country music. Honestly, it just changes with the day.
Yeah, really kind on your mood. I just like something with good beat. It's like it's just something you can just jam to. But also depend on the day, depend on your mood, But for me, it just definitely had to have a good beat, like that. If I see anyone from the opposition team that they know that so you can switch on, But yeah, it really depends. But Before we head on the bus to the stadium, I'll be more kind of just relaxed. It'd be relaxed music. I listen to podcasts, and it's just something really relaxed. And then the minute we get on the bus to the stadium, turn it off. Yeah, because the bus have music on, so it's really hard to listen to relaxed music when there's like a bit the bus going.
He's still going to cancel earphones, Linda.
I know, and I better. I'm nearly really good at fun. I don't have that yet. Just quick. But it's really hard because you can hear the tune going in, so you had to get it. Yeah, so just go with it. So
Playing the dressing room.
Oh, it depends. Hannah O'Connor's usually the playlist lady, but something you can sing along to is always pretty good.
yeah, but Spotify where everyone put in their tune, so you can put your own tune. It's random, like some days just random. You're like, oh, put this tune with it.
That's a platform, Western.
I'm not the only one. It's here in the hardest.
All right. So, best moment of your rugby career to date?
Me? I think there's been quite a few good moments, but probably the one that sticks out for me is the tour to Japan. It was the first of its kind for women's rugby in Ireland, and honestly, we had so much fun. It's probably the best memories and best times I've had in an Irish jersey. And the group we were with were absolutely amazing, mad but amazing. So yeah, that would probably be that for me.
For me, I think my first cap, that was a special moment for me and my family and community, everyone that have supported me to that journey to getting there. Never dreamt of really the opportunity, and the fact that I moved here when I was 9 to wear that jersey, I think it meant a lot. Not even for me, but for everyone, really. But really, just stepping on the pitch every single time wearing that green jersey with your best friends, like when you're being through hell and back at training and everything, to really play together, win or lose, you're all doing this together and share that journey. Whatever we done, everyone's journey is different, but it brought us all on that pitch on that day. I think it's sometimes just so special to kind of look around and then see, like, all of us just be like, we're the one, like, we're here. Yeah, I think it just gives you a goosebump, and that you're representing your country and you're doing something you love. So every single time, just even giving you that jersey presentation, I think it's special. You just remember it, because you're not going to have this for your entire, rugby come and goes. You play, you have a certain time, and then I wish I could do it forever. But yeah. So it's really special. I think every moment stepping on the pitch with you guys, special.
It was in Japan as well, 'cause obviously I got my first cap, but yeah, it was such a strange place for me to be at the time. I just came out of school. I hadn't even played AIL yet, so yeah, it happened so quickly. But yeah, I think I was in such an uncomfortable position, I suppose, but it just felt so special because of the group of people I was with, and yeah, it's a day I'll never forget anyway.
Well, before Mairead steps in, I just want to ask, what's it like playing down in Musgrave?
So I love it.
You just call it free and again.
Yeah.
It's good. I think last year is we got our first win, Six Nation win in Musgrave Park, and I say this year they were like, okay, all games in Musgrave Park now. So it's good though. It was just the support there is just incredible, because the stadium is so in, and just seeing young kids there last year just gave you that extra buzz, energy. And I think that's the same thing I'm looking forward to this year, to just stepping back again on that page, hopefully, and having the same feeling, the same support. And it's also great to just kind of change stadium and give opportunity to different support, supporter to come across from different. It usually always be in Dublin. So it's really, and last year was in Belfast and in Cork, so it's kind of really good to kind of step. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've never played there with Ireland yet, so yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a bit of a track down, but I'm sure we'll get it.
We can stay overnight, maybe, or yeah, it's brilliant.
We'll welcome you with open arms.
Over to you, Rafe.
Okay. Any decisions that you've made in life or sports so far that turned out to be significant, irrespective of the outcome?
Yes.
Okay.
Any decision? I think the biggest reason for me was really to rugby, was to be able to play the sport. Like when I started, like I said, I didn't know anything about the sport. I had to Google that word. So that race to go in every single day training, and not give up. I think sometimes when the road is really hard and you're really tempted to just be like, it's not meant for me. To just really not giving up. And every day is a risk. Every day you step on that pitch, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think that's really my risk every single day, but it's a risk I'm ready to take. It's worth it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose for me, when I finished college, I made the decision to move up to Dublin and commit to rugby as full-time as I could around work. So I went in training with the Sevens programme full-time, and it was something that I wasn't sure would work out. I thought it would be the best move for me at the time, just to kind of get an exposure to a full-time training environment, get rugby training as a really high level. And it wasn't the most comfortable at times, and I struggled, and I didn't really know many people outside my teammates in Dublin at the time, so it was tough, but I'm glad that I did it. And I suppose it's worked out now, and I love it up here, but it wasn't easy all the time. But I'm really glad I did it. Moving away from home, moving away from everyone I knew down in Limerick and all my friends. So, and it was mid-COVID as well, so things weren't easy. But no, it's worked out really well, and I'm really happy.
I'm kind of similar to you. Like, I did leave and start last year, so I had to choose where I wanted to go, and for me, it was always just Dublin. Like, I needed to be up here, join a club up here, and just experience the rugby lifestyle, I suppose. But yeah, like I was very uncertain coming up here whether I'd settle in or not. Thankfully, it worked out. Joey got contracts in November, so yeah, look, I never expected to be where I am today, but yeah, it's brilliant.
Right?
And who would be your biggest role model from the world of rugby, and maybe also outside of rugby then as well?
Go on, Dana.
It's in your name. Yeah, no, to be fair, like I haven't been here long, obviously. Like I still look up to you so much. Like yeah, you're just a great group to be around, and I'm so thankful to be training with you every day. But outside of rugby then, I'd say probably my parents. Like, I know that's fairly cliche, but like, you don't realise how much they do for you until you take a step back and, try to put yourself in their shoes for a day. And I wouldn't say I'd survive a second. So like, yeah, they're probably my...
I'm taking notes on that one. Go. I'm quoting that one when I go.
Yeah.
My role model, as if the women have gone before me, wearing their green jerseys, giving us the platform, giving us the path to be where we are today. They're role model to all of us. They are currently wearing that green jersey because we wouldn't have worn it if they didn't set the pathway for us. So they are my role models. Outside of rugby, I say my parents. I say my grandmother is my role model because I have her name. Because I carry her name. But not only than that, I feel like she's done so much for my family, for everything really. So I feel like I just want to make her proud. She's not here now, but like I think I look back and I just feel like I hope maybe that I make her proud. So
For me, I suppose in rugby, my role model was probably my first Irish captain, Ciara Griffin. I was lucky to play with her at club. I was lucky to still call her one of my close friends. But she kind of took me under her wing and showed me what to do and what I suppose elite performance looked like. She was always so prepared, so on the ball, and her performances on the pitch were inspiring, to be honest. So yeah, she probably paved a lot of. She showed me the way and is who I try to emulate today, and showed me what a true leader is. And then yeah, outside of sport, it probably would be my parents. They've done so much for me, and I'm so glad that I get to represent them and my family on a big stage. They've shown me what it's like to, I suppose, be a good person and things like that, and they gave up so much for me. So I'm very glad and grateful for them.
And screaming at you from the side of the pitch. About, you know the way, like, there's 10,000 people, but you can still hear your mother or your father roaring at you.
my dad for that. He'll always in. I think they just wait on the pitch quiet and then they just score, and then you're like, okay, you're usually straight after national anthem and then they do or they do something like silly. Your eyes are just they're like, yeah, that's it.
On the phone to my dad, they're like, yeah. They coach me. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Brilliant. All right, Katie Taylor said, I don't want people to define me by my medals, but how I live my life. So the next question, in terms of performance, what would you like to further develop in your playing career, in your job, or in the future? One or other. Probably your playing career, actually. Forget about the job bit.
Listen, it is a job.
Yeah.
It is a job. You know, it is. I don't know.
That's a hard one to answer, I think, because as a athlete, you're always trying to fix something and improve everything. So I probably wouldn't be able to tell you one thing, but I suppose I do want to continue to inspire and help the next generation. Even by going down to clubs and things like that, calling into schools, because there's always young girls and you don't even realise how much they look up to you until you see them. And it's nice to be able to show them that there is a pathway. So I think that's probably something I'd like to do more of, and something I'd probably, in the next few months, hopefully be able to commit more time to.
Win a World Cup, maybe. And Grand Slam, yeah.
No, like I think you have to separate wins and losses from the whole process. I suppose like it's the most important thing for me is to enjoy the journey. I suppose because it could be taken away from us at any stage. So there's no point in being here if you can't enjoy the highs and lows, and take it as it comes really.
Yeah. I think in college when they're excellent now, but at the beginning they were talking about how they actually brought the Connacht game to everybody, was that they visited schools, towns, and brought the players around and said, these are the people you're playing for. You know, partly it's your team, but it's also everybody around here. And they went to loads of schools, so just like you're suggesting, and look where they are now. Well, fantastic. All right. How do you use your reflections and learnings from a game, and what ways would you work with the team to improve the team and yourself? Like, what happens after a match?
because of conveyor that. It's thanks a bit first. Yeah. Is I think is so crucial in growing and learning. We do a lot of video analysis with training. You're watching it straight after games. You see girls in the laptop watching it again and again. And it's also helping each other by clipping videos where we can be better, improving and everything, and showing it to your team, maybe like we could do this better. And I think that's how really we help each other off and on the pitch. But also just really be there for each other. Doesn't have to be rugby, but sometimes you just need to get a step away from it and then look at it a completely different way and then step back in it to see really how to get better at it. So it doesn't always have to be video analysis. Sometimes you just need to just not think about it and just, like you said, just take a break from it. That's really anything.
Yeah, I suppose just having those conversations. Nobody thinks the same, so it's kind of good to get other people's perspectives on things and kind of get an insight to what they see and what things could be different. And then obviously you can have input from anyone and everybody. Like you've family telling you what you could have done better, you've everyone. So it's kind of just noting who you actually need to listen to and who has your best interests at heart. But definitely just having conversations with your teammates and management. It just, I suppose it keeps everybody on the same page as well.
Yeah, I suppose what the girl says, just looking back, just reviewing the game. Sometimes like we could even win a game and you'd still be feeling down about yourself because you missed a kick or threw a bad pass or whatever. But when you, like the next day when you watch the game, it's never as bad as you think. And yeah, it's just all about reflecting and seeing where you can improve.
Brilliant. I just got to wrap it up there, time from Anna, but I have to ask one more question. Six Nations coming up. Paddy Power is just down the road, so everyone's going to tear down now when you tell us this. Not predictions for the Six Nations, but what are you most looking forward to? Obviously, other than the Six Nations, putting on the Ireland jersey again. 2 home games. First game away, yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, insights?
The Oliver Hathaway, it's the first game. Yeah.
Can't stop me for it.
So, win it. If we want to win. Oh, it's, yeah.
I suppose I'm looking forward to playing down at Cork. I grew up watching games in Musgrave Park, so it's always a dream to play there. But other than that, it's just every week looking forward to what's to come. No point getting too far ahead of ourselves. And yeah, just enjoying. It's enjoying, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. The special. It's like home advantage. You know, you're playing, you didn't have to travel. But sometimes travel takes a lot out of you. So having the home game, like you have your family there, your friends there, I think home games are special. So we want to just kind of just take them all in and give everyone what they came to see. So yeah, just enjoy it. Yeah, I think 2 big home games. France and England. So yeah.
That's great. All right. Listen, thank you very much. It's been really interesting to listen to you. You're incredible. You did a great job. So, love you for coming here today. Fantastic attendance in our canteen in James Joyce Street, and thanks everyone for joining us online. That's been fantastic as well. Thank you for everyone for organising this, and most importantly to Enya, to Linda, and to Donna for coming in. Fair dues, and you did a great job. Well done.